According to a 2021 report from the African Center for Supply Chains, the future of supply chains is in digital automation and advanced analytics. Alongside economic disruptions, the pandemic expanded existing supply chain practices as well as highlighted new opportunities. The undercurrents driving initial COVID-19 disruptions are expected to remain viable until 2023. Joining us to discuss further, Nnamdi Okoh. He's the co-founder and CEO of Terminal Africa, a fast-growing logistics startup in Nigeria. Nnamdi, you're very welcome. Thanks for joining us.
It's great to be here, Rontas.
Hey, excellent stuff. Is that the future of logistics as far as automation, the digital side, and so on and so forth that's expressed in that report?
I think that's the case across business in general, not just peculiar to logistics. I think most businesses now want to access services, digitally, which then, allows businesses to automate these processes, daily operations. And I think that then drives the data that, gives businesses insights into how they can improve service delivery for customers. So I think, that's definitely the universal acceptance.
Cool. So it's a universal acceptance. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to get there, but can they, when you think about the barriers to free-flowing digital services for all these businesses, particularly for logistics and supply chains?
Yeah, I think it's definitely possible. Of course, there are certain barriers that you can't innovate around. And so, in those situations, you just have to sort of trust that the environment will eventually adapt.
Yeah.
But I think when it comes to certainly the exchange of information, which in logistics tends to kickstart the process, you can definitely drive that through technology.
Okay, great stuff. So speaking of which, for folks like you in the sector, how are you implementing tech to be able to improve your services and so on?
Yeah, I think that goes along the line of what I just discussed. There's certain challenges in the logistics space that you can't innovate around. You think about poor road networks. There's no point trying to innovate around that. How we've approached this is to, again, focus on more informational problems, which is where technology tends to have a strong edge. And for us, we've tend to focus more on access. There are many providers that have, figured out the road networks in Nigeria, and we sort of trust them to do that while we focus on providing access to these guys. Okay,
speaking of providing access, we have on the screen your business model. I've got this from your website. Arrange a delivery online using Terminal. Terminal notifies the selected courier. The courier company picks up the packages. Items get delivered to the destination. Number 2, Terminal notifies. And I just have to challenge the business model just a bit. Just questioning.
Sure.
Why would I need you to do that when I theoretically could just use the app of the courier? And it's almost like ordering an Uber or a Bolt. And I'm saying I'm going through Terminal to get a ride to Victoria Island or something, and you're going to do it. So explain, what's the value add there for you guys?
Of course, off the face of it, I think, it probably, our business is quite new in this space.
Okay.
And so, right now I feel like maybe I'm talking to one of my investors.
Right,
we do get questions
pitch,
like
right?
that.
Exactly, okay.
I think where Terminal comes in is, when we've looked at businesses in this space, no one business just uses a single logistics service provider.
Right.
Because, sometimes your customers want things quickly. Sometimes they want the most affordable rates. Sometimes speed is key for your customers, and so being able to give these guys these options is where Terminal has an edge.
Is all you do.
Exactly.
Oh,
and so, whether you want something delivered fast, you want to send a package from Lagos to Beijing, you would get a vast range of options, and for any business, they can then make an informed decision.
Is it true Nigerians don't have any patience and want this thing delivered tomorrow?
Of course.
So the price reflects
speed,
that, right?
I think the ideal scenario for any business is that, or for any individual, in fact, is if I make a request for a delivery, you're there at my house within 5 minutes, or in my office within 5 minutes, and my package is gone, and my mind is at ease. So this is the principle that we apply when we think of how we're innovating in this space.
Okay.
And so we'll get there eventually. But
hey, it's challenging stuff. Who bears the risk as far as between what you're doing? How do you do the risk mitigation for this type of thing?
Yeah, so I think that's sort of a shared responsibility. Of course, because we have partners that are doing the actual delivery from point A to point B, we encourage our customers to engage them when, maybe a package gets lost or damaged. These things happen in this space. The most important thing then is to make sure that the customers are satisfied, regardless of how things go. And so, when we encourage customers to reach out to our partners, generally things get resolved. But in the event that they don't, we as a platform, given that we facilitate the connection, do step in to mediate and ensure that customers are happy.
Very interesting. Very interesting. In your view, if you take a macro view of from whenever you hopped into the space and started this business, has there been any improvements in? I mean, this is pre-COVID now up to where we are. Has there been any improvements in the general, as far as, I don't know if I should be throwing in government policy in here, but because we don't want to talk politics, but have things improved? Have things gotten easier for logistics and supply chains
So maybe I'm not the best person to speak on that because, we're simply mediating between the customers and the logistics companies. We don't actually own the assets or control the packaging or
that
the movement of the product.
Quite a bit.
Exactly.
Smart.
With in terms of policies, I would just say that given the level of innovation and growth that we're seeing in this space, that has to be down to favorable policies on some level. But I think the likes of our partners like a DHL or a FedEx or Quick are probably in a better position to speak on that. Yeah.
What would you? Okay, I shouldn't be following up with this. But what do you think what would make, I guess, from your interactions, life easier going forward in this?
You mean for startups?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, for startups.
Okay. For me, I think we've been very fortunate in the progress that we've made these past few months. So maybe a continuity in the status quo.
Right.
But for maybe other early stage startups, I think probably more capital coming into the space. I think there are many people innovating in the space currently, but maybe the access to capital is not as easy as it once was. We're in a tough market now, so for me, that's probably what we want to see.
Great stuff. Any expansion plans? Any other countries outside Nigeria? You still feeling your boots in Nigeria?
For the most part, probably until the end of the year, our focus is here in Nigeria. Yeah. We're only just over a year old, so we're very much in the early stages. But I think from next year, we definitely have plans to expand into other countries like Ghana, South Africa, and in East Africa as well.
Technology, tech, startups is the most positive, best story coming out of Nigeria right now. Nnamdi Okoh, co-founder, CEO at Terminal Africa. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Rufus.